Hello everybody, it's going to talk about, well, creating your own builds from scratch or following all those talented theory crafters for Diablo 4. We spent countless of hours trying to understand every single bit in how to create very, very strong builds. Now, I was debating with myself. Again, there's one thing that you can actually just follow and just, like a puzzle, piece by piece, and just follow a specific path that is already predefined for you. This is the what you want to do. And usually it's kind of, you look at the end, what you want to see, and you see the gameplay, especially now that the game was released for reviewers. You can see, all right, this is the end, this is how it's going to be. It actually works. And you just say, all right, I don't mind playing that. And you just follow the path, a very, very detailed path. Of course, you might not get specific items, but you have a general path to follow in order to create a certain build, or at least very, very close to what's shown. Now, this reminds me actually when I play Hearthstone, I never really followed a specific, deck. I always enjoyed, part of my enjoyment was actually creating a deck myself and see if it works or not. I mean, otherwise, I just wouldn't enjoy the game at all. It just felt like work, like I'm doing everything automatic and I'm just filling in the thing like a robot, just following and do things. And between us, I can speak for myself, but one of the most part for me in playing games like that, especially with RNG drops and with lots of options to customize, is trying to come up with something that I enjoy playing based on how I progress and try the different type of skills. But not just skills, but all the other things like aspects, of course, and the Paragon board, and try to figure out myself what works or what not, and create something that fits my playstyle with a, kind of a playstyle that I enjoy playing eventually. And how I know that? Well, I just experience. And without experiencing, I actually wouldn't know if I enjoy playing it. For me, enjoyment is the most important thing. Because again, otherwise I wouldn't enjoy as much the game if I wouldn't follow the type of playstyle that I enjoy in the game. Now, of course, this is true. I don't need to check it, and you don't need to check it, right? You have reasons why you want to play a certain class, for example. It can be maybe it's just a mage because you like to be a spellcaster. The core reason you actually choose even a class that already limits the amount of things you can actually do compared to other classes is based on some reason or reasons that you actually choose a specific class over the other. Now you might say, all right, you're going to play all the classes, but of course, if you want to play all the classes, it will take you a long time. There are going to be lots of people who won't do that. And if you're going to choose another class, it's going to be for seasons. But again, it's only stay for the season. But if you want to choose a main class for yourself, by just choosing a class, you're already losing lots of other options. So players already know ahead of time which class they want to play. So they already put this very hard limit of, how they're going to play the game. Now, of course, when you are doing things yourself, you might come up with some really great builds. And by the way, you can follow something which is very technical and get to something that works well. But you can also work in many different ways because the game has so many ways of builds that can actually work. You just need to get there. So the most important thing is try to get knowledge when it comes to synergies. This is the most important thing, or a line of reasoning why a certain path, taking a certain path is actually good and works well. The thing is that, again, this video was made before the game is released. We base those things based on the experience of those who actually play the game and got to higher levels and doing nightmare dungeons, end game content. So they already know the end, right? It was recursively. They already know what's waiting there at the end, and they already know what to do straight from the beginning. Because if you already play the end game content, you already know the path that you want to start with, because you know that this way will lead you to a certain point that will actually work for you in end game content. But as a new player, you don't know that, right? But this is the part of the fun of the experience. You have your challenges and you try to figure out what to do. This is, in my opinion, by the way, those who actually do all the theory crafting, that's why they do it. They enjoy doing it. You're just lagging behind right now. It can be based on your experience, that you don't have enough experience, or you just didn't, of course, play the game yet, and they did, and they already know what's coming to the end game. But part of the enjoyment, and they are doing it, just sharing it, is doing this, just learning and trying to find out the strongest build that work. But I'm saying give yourself the fun to do this yourself, because otherwise you're just gonna be like a machine. You're just gonna put things in, and that's about it. You can do this. I'm not saying don't do that, right? It's up to you. Some players, that's what they're gonna do for many reasons, right? Even those who have limited time, to play, for example, just want to follow a certain path that they know it will eventually work for them. But I'm saying for those of you who are thinking, right, I just want to find out my creative ways to do this, I recommend following this path. It might be punishing at times, some things might not work, but it's worth time because this is the fun of actually playing games like that. Trying to figure out things, make it challenging for you, and find out paths that actually work. And it's really feel fun when eventually you come across something that actually works. It was kind of fun. It might, by the way, eventually it might be something that already exists with other popular builds out there. Might be. But again, at least you know that you did the path and you enjoy the process of actually figuring this one out. And I can tell you that for myself, I know there are certain type of skills that I really enjoy playing. Otherwise, I might enjoy the game less. And I mean, it happens to me when I play different classes. I tell myself, I don't want to play like that. I don't enjoy the game like that. So why do I do it to myself and just follow a specific path that with skills that I really don't enjoy? Of course, it needs to be a balance. It needs to work out for the end game. Otherwise, really, you're going to get stuck and you won't be able to complete and it will be frustrating for you. But it needs to combine also something that fits your playstyle. Now, again, if you want to do this and really try out the different skills, all right? Especially early on, it really not costly to change things and see what works. And eventually try to build around that thing that actually fits your playstyle. This is the most important thing because this really will make you enjoy the game. And I already seen like some will build videos of people see the end result and they say, I don't want to play like that. They see the rogue, for example, how it plays, and they don't want to play like that. So they, from the beginning, don't want to choose the rogue or at least not follow this specific path. But eventually, what I see, by the way, that with all the different things out there, you can see that when it comes to playstyle, it's actually quite, although there are many options, eventually you can see that when it comes to, at least for the, well, meta right now, it's really too early, but things that for the builds, you can see that it's pretty limited. Because I think just repeating the stuff, or many people already, by the way, play the game and got to the end game content, that sharing things that are quite similar. And eventually, if you're going with something that is quite similar as a core playstyle, you're gonna go with the Paragon with something that is might be even quite similar, because you try to fetch and mix everything and glue together well to support that type of skills that we're actually using and aspects. So this is why there are many things that just look similar, and you've probably seen videos and say, all right, this is quite similar to that. We've seen this in the rogue, for example. You've seen somebody recommend you going with the range rogue? No. So everybody just going with the melee, and when you use the melee, with twisting blades, things are quite similar in terms of the core gameplay mechanics, right? Of course, there are many other things around it, but this is going to be the core. This is going to do, right? You're going to see, you see by the animation, the way people play, that is quite similar to many other builds that are based around specific mechanisms. So yeah, although you're going to choose many other different things that will actually affect the stats, the gameplay itself will be very similar, right? So otherwise, if you want to go with something else that make you enjoy the game more, you need to find the path for yourself and try to build things around it. In my opinion, there will be lots of viable ways to play the game and match it to your playstyle. You just need to get there. The way to get there and enjoy the game most is find this path yourself that make you enjoy the game better. And I think it is going to be viable for you in many different ways. You just need to find a way to get there. It might be at the end maybe less efficient in terms of, let's say, damage and survivability, but you're going to find ways to tweak and things, and try to make it better. Not all builds going to be the same. If you're trying to min-max and get like the top of the top, you eventually will get to more limited, right? Those who actually at the end, they're going to be very limited in terms of there's certain skills that you need to choose, because again, the more you try to optimize and min-max everything, eventually you're going to find that there many options actually are dropped on the way. But if that's really like the top of the edge, you're willing to sacrifice lots of things on the way just to being at this top and having like the top build, fine. If that's what your goal, do it. But if not, and you really want to play the other wave and find things yourself and enjoy, by the way, the process of actually doing it, which is, in my opinion, one of the most fun things to do in Diablo. And I'm sure those who actually doing the theory crafting, enjoying it a lot. The way to go is just go on your own adventure and try to figure out yourself. You might figure out, by the way, something that is more even better than what other players are actually playing. but it's up to you to go to this adventure. And I think that without this, actually, Diablo is going to be much, much boring for me. So again, I'm taking synergies and some things, but I'm going to try to do my own thing and create my own builds and come up with something that make me enjoy the game, by the way, and also try to come up with something really good. Yeah, so this is my opinion. Of course, by the way, learn the basics. I'm learning, by the way, each day. I'm learning more and more things. Make sure to learn the core basics of, again, the more basic knowledge or core knowledge you have, the easier it is for you to do things right, and less, of course, respecting for mistakes that you probably can be avoided if you follow a specific, understanding the core. So tell me which path you actually prefer playing. Going your own way, trying to find your own strong build based on skills and aspects and other things in the game that fits your playstyle, or you're going to just go straight to, well, I know this is build, this is the one I'm going to use, and that's about it. By the way, there are many players who actually already created the build in calculators that they know this is the build that I want to do ahead of time, right? You don't need something to play based on the experience that you had in the beta, for example. You already go into, build planners and going to create a build that you think is going to work based on your experience. Of course, many players do that as well. So I want to hear your opinion in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Consider leaving a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.